Here.
Vice Chair Amspoker,
Present.
Commissioner Gaines,
Here.
Commissioner Gerlach, Commissioner Lorimer, Commissioner Stutzman.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. If each of you will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. This is a hybrid meeting, which allows for in-person attendance, call-in participation, or written comments. Lisa, have we received any of those?
I did not.
Thank you. We will go on to item 3, reports. We'll start with the industrial park report. Mr. Bradley.
Good afternoon, Chairman Burrows, Commissioners. Can you hear me? Okay. Start off with updating you on the rail. We don't have an update on October yet. We're working on putting that together. But as of September, we had 133 storage of cars within the park. As a reference, previously in August, it was 137. So we're tracking a little lower there. And then cars that were moved and brought in for various companies, we were at 142. And in August, we were at 157. Some projects that we're currently finished up or working on, we've got a project called Weather, and we just finalized a lease on that, and they are moving into the industrial park into an existing building. The city actually owns about 0.45 acres adjacent to that facility, and they're just leasing that for additional laydown yard for the process that they use to manufacture. They manufacture sheds, and so that's where they'll store their sheds prior to being sent off and sold.
Okay, just to clarify, so they're leasing
dirt
from the
yes.
city for storage?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And go ahead, Mr. Amspoker.
Do they have a building as well there?
Yeah, they own they lease the building right next door to it.
Oh, okay, but that's not from the city.
No, it's just a private landowner.
Private concern. Okay.
Private owner of that facility. We just happen to own the property right next to it.
Do you know how much the lease is for?
Yeah, so that lease is right around $212 a month.
$212 a month?
Yes. So it's not a large one, but it's basically what was part of an old was going to be an old easement. Really can't be used by anybody in particular, so it's just giving us some extra revenue for a property that's been sitting vacant forever.
And
so
some's better than none.
Absolutely, we're excited. We're also working on a project called Titan, and we're in discussions with them about leasing some industrial land out there for their services. We don't have we're going to be doing some survey work to see how much land they're going to be looking for, and they've got 2 sites that they're considering. So we don't have any other details other than that right now on that, and we'd have to negotiate the lease and bring that to completion. Staff is continuing to work with BNSF Railway, and what we're doing with them is they have a certified sites program where we list. It's a very extensive process to put your properties into their system. You're looking at utilities, you're looking at environmental, all types of items that are going to be looked at on that property before they'll take it into there. So we accumulate all that, we submit it to them, and they go through that approval process. It has to be rail served, all those type of items. So we're working on that with staff to hopefully be able to submit our remaining acreage that is rail served into that system. Last,
So what does that mean for us?
it's just another marketing tool to be able to market the property to additional potential users.
That the marketing
Yeah,
would say,
BNSF might be talking to people and that, hey, we've got a site that fits within our certified site program, and they're in Kingman, and so it's a marketing tool.
okay, so they would be able to say this
This site meets
industrial
many
area
requirements.
is serviced
Yep.
by BNSF.
It's serviced by rail, and then it also meets all of the requirements that BNSF requires to be part of their program.
Okay, thank you.
Staff also provided a tour last month to Supervisor of District 1, Travis Linkenfelter. We provided numerous updates of all the new industry coming into the park, some of the projects that we've been working on, things of that nature. He basically shared his support with us in regards to the park. He's very supportive of the future success and what we're working on out there. We also are in the process of working with the Mojave County Economic Development Department in regards to putting together a business retention and expansion survey of not only the industrial park businesses, but the airport businesses. So we're going to partner with them. It'll be a survey that we meet with or email businesses in regards to all types of items that they might be concerned about or interested in, and be able to comment on, and we'll put that report together when all of those surveys are finalized, and we'll present that.
Okay, you mentioned industrial park businesses as well as
Airport side businesses.
So those would be, the airport businesses are the ones basically inside the fence?
On the airfield side.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, yep. So some meetings that are coming up, tomorrow we'll have a Kingman Area Manufacturing Association meeting at the Airport Administration Facility. That'll take place on the 16th from at 1 o'clock. They typically will last about an hour and a half for those meetings. We also have an Economic Development Commission meeting next week on the 23rd. And it'll be a hybrid meeting, just like we have now, and that'll take place at 12 o'clock, I believe. Lisa, is that correct? Yeah, 12 o'clock on the 23rd. And then this last month, at the end of October, Gary Kellogg and myself attended the Arizona Association for Economic Developers Annual Forum in Flagstaff. It's been over a year since we were able to attend these because of the pandemic. It was very well attended. We were able to meet with many other economic development professionals in our field throughout the state of Arizona, talk about projects, things that we're working on, things that they're working on, as well as attend various classes or I guess seminars that they had with it throughout the day. So it was a good event to attend. I wanted to update you on some land sales. You might be aware that we did complete the 30-acre land sale out at the airport, and the city was paid $1,975,000 for that sale. The project is in the process of, they're getting ready to do their site work, and so we anticipate that project to be breaking ground within the next week or two. They've actually got trailers and trucks already out there on the site. And then in closing, we are also working on an additional land sale right now. Application fee has already been submitted. We've already gone through the appraisal process. The sale will take some additional time, so I don't really have a lot of updates with regards to the next steps, because there's some due diligence and some potential cleanup that staff is going to be working through on that project. So we'll continue to move that one along. And
Would it be appropriate for you to tell us the size being considered on that?
We have, I'll say it's less than 20 acres.
Okay, thank you.
I'll say that. The last sale we just did was a 30-acre sale. We are getting down to where we have a couple large parcels, and we've got some other ones out there that industry could potentially move on.
Thank you.
So,
Would it be appropriate to mention the amount of revenue that we?
no,
receive?
I would
or
not
do
feel
you know?
comfortable because of the work that could we don't know what the estimates are for the work, so that the net proceeds are,
In
unknown.
question,
Yeah, they're
Okay.
unknown. But
Thank
you
you.
could rely on that 1.9,
yeah,
1,975, that's
for
a
30 acres, so
definite.
just a third less.
Yeah, but minus out, I mean, we don't know what those
Minus
costs
cleanup,
are. I mean,
right. Yeah.
it could change the number
Sure.
quite a bit at the end, so.
Thank you.
Yep. And with that, that's my update. If you guys have any other questions or anybody online,
Okay, are there,
I have a question,
Yeah.
Mr. Bradley. Paul
Yes,
Gaines
Paul.
here.
yeah.
And did I miss something, or is it not appropriate also to mention the company that is doing that did the 30 acres of the 1.9 million amount?
So it has not been publicly announced.
Okay.
At this point, it is a developer that's come in and they have a lease with a national basically a Fortune 500 company. They have the lease
Okay.
with, and so they'll come in. We're working with them on announcement, hopefully within
Okay.
the next few weeks.
any
And
other
it'll be
questions?
they'll be building a 200,000 square foot building, and so and their employment numbers will be upwards of over 100.
Nice. Very nice.
Great. Any other questions?
I have one for you, Mr. Commissioner Burrows, actually. Do we approve the minutes?
I was just going to bring that back up. I did skip over it.
Okay.
So as soon as Mr. Bretley's done, we'll get back to that. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I did skip over approving the minutes, and I do apologize for that. So hopefully you've had a chance to go over the minutes. And as soon as possible, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as provided.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as provided.
Commissioner Gaines has made a motion to accept the minutes as written. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay, been seconded by Commissioner Amspoker. Any discussion, corrections on the minutes? All those in favor of accepting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously passed. The minutes are accepted. All right, let's go back to item number 3B, Airport General Manager Report. Mr. Breckenridge.
Chair, Commissioners, giving you guys just a little bit of update what's been going on at the airport. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, we had a discussion where we sat down with Jet Yard for that 2,500 acres of development, along with Mojave County and some Northern Arizona Fire District.
I'm sorry, 2,500 acres?
Feet, sorry,
you
205,000 feet, sorry. Sorry about that thing, good catch. And we sat down with them just to make a discussion about what's gonna be required by the county and by the city and start moving that forward on developing that land. They're going through and they're taking those comments back to their engineers and their architects to review what we've presented in front of them and then provide us a little bit better design and detail to where we could start moving forward, or they could start moving forward and building and developing that parcel. They did give us a conceptual drawing, but there's gonna have to be some changes. It does look fairly nice. It's gonna be developed out pretty well. Next section is staffing. Great news, we're finally fully staffed. We hired a new individual last month, Donald Mott Jr., and before him, we hired an Arthur Pipkin. Both are now on their normal shifts. So we start having somebody come in around 4:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, and the last person walks out around 9:30. On Saturday and Sunday, first person comes in around 4:35, and then they walk out around 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So all this full coverage actually began and started today. So we're finally up there, fully coverage. The next thing that we've been waiting on is the actual security. We received all the bids. The lowest bidder was Desert Mountain Security. They're reviewing their contract. I'm waiting to get back some questions from them if they have any further questions regarding it, or hopefully they'll send it back to us signed and we get that moved forward. And we can start having security whenever individuals are not here working for the airport to provide us that security, or at least somebody on site to monitor the airport.
How much was that bid? Did it come in below the budget or above?
It came in at $19 an hour, which goes below the 50,000. 50,000 towards the end of this year. We are going to put out another RFP at the beginning of next fiscal year, because that will require this to go over 50,000, and we will have to go through the request for proposal process. So you could probably expect that to be towards the end of the summer, right before we get into the next fiscal year, so it could just roll over and we could either have a new company or they will obtain it again.
So there'll be some money left over in the budget come June from the security.
Yes, sir. We have a high probability of that.
Good,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Taxiway Delta project, I'm going to go ahead and go into the grants area just so I could tie both these in at the same time. Our Taxiway Bravo project. We are still waiting on ADOT to give us that grant. Right now, they said the next part for phase 2, when I shot them an email a couple of weeks ago, said we could expect the grant to be offered in December. That will turn phase 2, phase 1, where we'll bid that out at the same time. That we're also expecting the PAPI replacement to actually come out in December also. So we're going to get a grant for those two projects and get them moving both at the same time. They've been pretty much, I'll tell you this, ADOT has been pretty tied up, but on the upside is we're going after or requesting another grant. We're hopefully in the near future to get an offer letter from that. That will be Fox Sealing, runway 17, and then also Fox Sealing, Taxiway Delta. Terminal painting and landscape. At this time, we have staff trying to do a little bit of work on the front near the actual terminal building, keep that, or try to get the grass to grow back and maintain a little bit better. We are keeping an eye on the ditches in that area. We are also looking at, in discussions with how to create an additional drainage to where we could move that water as it comes off the ramp and moves over towards the actual drain ditches off to the north. We have been in discussions about that. We walked around, we took another look at that area along with some of the other catch basins that are right next to the actual old tower. Heat hanger weather stripping, the guys have been working on that. They finished about 4 at this time. It takes them about 1 day to complete each stripping at the very top. They do a fantastic job. I was really proud of them because they were fighting the first time to make sure they didn't have any creases or any gaps in there. And it was, honest with you, the first time they ever worked with that, and they took their time and they got it down, and now you can start seeing that as they go to the next layers. It's getting better and better and better, and they're moving a lot quicker. Apron, the tie down chains, yes, sir.
You skipped one.
I'm sorry. Master drainage study. We are currently having our surveyors, or they're wrapping up. They're out there surveying all the master drainage, all the culverts, all the head walls, all the catch basins, because from all our other maps and online maps, they seem to not be completely accurate. They're taking that information, giving latitude, longitude, also some additional depth if they're able to, provide that to CNS so we can kind of speed this along, reduce the amount of time the engineers will be out here in the field, which everybody knows that will be additional charges. So providing that information to them should help expedite the process. Plus, on the city side, we need that information in our CADs so we could better maintain the actual drainage structures at the airport.
I understand you've been in contact with some of the longtime airport users, and they might have had some input as some information about drainage they are aware of.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They met with our actual surveyor. Mike Pryor, he's done a fantastic job. He's been out there for the past several weeks, And we're planning to get some of those individuals also involved whenever the engineers actually come out here. So we are gonna approach this from everybody involved, get as much information as possible so we get correct and accurate drainage studies so we can determine what we need to do next.
Thank you.
So the apron, I do not know if everybody has noticed or not, but we have replaced 20 tie downs with chains, brand new chains.
20?
20, yeah, 20 spots.
Whereabouts are those
In front of
located?
the terminal building, and
Okay.
then when you start heading south towards the actual shade hangers.
Okay,
We started working in those areas.
thank you.
I went out and saw those yesterday. They look good. It's all that shiny metal looks good.
I'll be honest with you, the helicopter pilots didn't seem too happy because that means planes will be parking closer to them. But yeah, that right there, also going along with that, the actual crack seal. We came across a little bit, something that slowed it down, W9 forms, a few other additional information, but we are still planning to get that done before, last week of November, first week in December. So it'll be right before the special event on December 6th. And then as soon as we get done with the crack seal, then we're gonna flip around and we're gonna start painting some of those tie-down aircraft parking spots and get those up to date and making them look nice, shiny,
Nice.
brand new, easy to see.
Nice.
Commissioner Gaines, did you have something?
No, I was just making a comment that was nice. That's gonna be nice to have the new change and the stripe and the crack seal and the striping done.
Great.
So, yeah.
Now, the one area that everybody's been asking for, Gate 300. Just to give you a little bit of idea on Gate 300, what we have replaced in the past. We have replaced a motor. We have replaced guide wheels. We have replaced ground sensors. And what we realized that all those were actual issues that need to be addressed for Gate 300. The next problem that we came across was due to those former issues causing problems with vibrations in the gate, it actually dislocated the actual circuit control boards. Lucky is that, speaking to the manufacturer, those circuit control boards usually last 4 to 5 years before they become dislodged and you can no longer use them. These will last over 10. Downside is we have to order conversion boards. So we did our best. We went out there, we found the cheapest and ones that will be available to where we're not waiting a month for them to come across the ocean and get to us. So we're expecting to possibly get those circuit control boards along with the conversion boxes in by the end of this week and then look at installing them as soon as possible.
In the meantime, Gate 300 is inoperable?
It is inoperable, sir.
Okay.
COVID response, money, we're just putting that together the last form. We've gotten all the information in for it, putting it together into a grant reimbursement sheet, which we'll be submitting to the FAA. ARPA grant, we applied for that about a couple of months ago, the American Recovery Plan, and we're expecting to get around $32K through reimbursement from employee and operational cost. But we have not actually received the official offer letter yet. I already went over ADOT's Taxiway Bravo and the PAPI. We're just waiting on ADOT to provide us those official grant offers, hopefully in December. Draw site update. Still can't go into too much about that. In November, the comment period, public comment period on ADOT's website ended. They received no public comments. Maybe it's 1,200, 300 pages that were in there. But on the upside is, I promise you, this is moving forward. Every day I hear some great news. I can't really speak too much about it, but here's some great news. And I'm getting excited, yet I'm also realizing there's gonna be a lot of work ahead.
Right.
Good work, but a lot of work ahead. Now, the next portion, I believe I provided gentlemen a copy of the actual cover tie-down leases that were requested.
Land lease, FAA land lease process.
Oh, sorry about that. I get to that. FAA preliminaries, we have received the actual preliminary information, questions and comments from the last submittal, and we're going through this right now and trying to provide the information as soon as possible to keep it moving. Okay. Now, we did provide you a copy of the cover tie-down lease per your request in October's meeting. For you guys to provide some advice, some comments on how we can make this adjustment, if there's something out there that is concerning that we may need to make adjustments to or recommendations.
Okay, so we're going to handle this in a couple of ways. If you have some minor suggestions or questions, we can cover those. If it's going to be lengthy, I'll ask you to submit them to Doug outside of this meeting and give him a call, and he can go over your specific need on this. So with that in mind, I'll start with Commissioner Gaines. Commissioner Gaines, did you have a chance yet to look over this? And if so, do you have any input?
I did, and I don't have any input at this time.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Stutzman.
I do have a copy of it. I read through it, and I was curious why the automatic increase was in there.
Well, we discussed that. It has been brought up that city council will still have the ability to, well, we're gonna have to go in front of them before the beginning of next fiscal year for them to make a judgment call on whether they want to meet that CPI or not. It's still going to go in front of them, but I have been speaking to some other individuals to see how we could possibly reword that, and we're trying to find a good way how to reword it to where we don't leave any gaps or holes where somebody, even if city council comes back and says, you know, a lower amount, that nobody could still argue against it. So we're still trying to work with that wording right now, but right now the CPI is the most solid version, but no matter what, we'll still have to go in front of the city council on that, and possible discussions with those changes are either the CPI or maybe even a little bit lower.
Okay. I know that the commission previously suggested, when we were talking about hangar rates in general, was to go with the CPI or limit it to a maximum of 3%. So you might consider suggesting that along with your negotiations. Any more, Commissioner Stutzman?
No, that's it.
All right. Commissioner Lorimer?
I have no comments on it.
No comments? Commissioner Amspoker?
Yes, I have a few things. I would suggest that on section 4, subsection B, instead of saying shall, I'd like to see the word changed to may.
Yes.
Rather than, so it's therefore the rent amount may be adjusted, and that leaves it discretionary rather than absolute.
It's a good catch, Commissioner.
On number 5, leasee shall not store any aircraft on the leased premises other than stored aircraft identified.
Okay, you're at a subsection there. Which
Yeah,
subsection?
subsection C.
5C.
And I believe when we talked about this, there would be something that would allow the premises to be leased and to, on a grandfather clause basis somehow. I didn't see anything in A through H that allowed a grandfather clause involved.
I believe that is something we would have to take on a case-by-case basis. I don't think that's something we want in the lease agreement.
I don't see where it would hurt, as long as the airport was getting the revenue. Then on page, on page 4, number 11, they specifically prohibit transfer of the lease or subleasing. So I think that can be addressed differently. On page 5, under number 20, and to be fair, Doug and I have already discussed this, and he was, I believe, in agreement. Under breach, it says, if any, at time. I think the at needs to go between the if
Yeah.
and the any.
If at any time.
And I think that pretty well surmises my objections and concerns.
All right. Are you caught up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I have just a couple of things. On page 2, this would be under section 4E, like Edward. It says, on or before the initial term, we're going to give out the gate key. I would take out the or before and just put upon the initial term. Give out a gate key or a key code, whatever. I just don't think we need to put it out before we have a lease. Okay, now on page 4, middle of the page, section 13, taxes. I have a very large concern with the way this is written. Leasee hereby assumes full responsibility for and shall pay prior to the delinquency of any and all real property taxes. Okay, leave the personal property taxes and sales taxes, which may be levied on the leased premises. Our leasee should not be responsible for real property taxes. So that's needs some cleanup from legal.
Good catch.
And then on page 5, section 20, F Foxtrot, pursue any other remedies available, I believe it should be by law, opposed to at law. And page 7, section 27, the very last line of section 27 says, all reasonable cost and reasonable cost and reasonable attorney fees. So just strike one of those reasonable costs. It just looks like a cut and paste error there.
Yeah.
And that's my very insignificant suggestions. All right, any other discussion on the covered tie-down lease agreement proposal? Okay, hearing none from the commissioners. Mr. Breckenridge, you may continue on with your report.
Okay, I do appreciate that. Next one, actual hangars occupancy, for the actual executive hangars. We have 5 available, 5 are occupied, 4 are on the wait list. For the actual B and CT hangars, we've had a massive increase in the amount of individuals that are requesting on this wait list. We have 30 hangars, 30 are occupied, but now we have 15 on the wait list, and then we have 2 relocation requests.
Do you have a sense as to what caused the increase? Did another airport shut down someplace?
This is a rumor right now, and I have not been able to confirm it.
Uh-huh.
Higher hangar fees at other airports.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
It's just a rumor, have not been able to confirm it.
Right, right.
Also, another one I've been hearing is that, some of these people have built their own hangars and then it's reverting back to some of these other airports and the fees were gonna go up and they decided to move. But as I said, rumors, we're trying to figure that out too.
Do you have some idea where these 15 are coming from?
No, sir, I'm not the individual that spoke to them.
So they'd say, I'm at Tucumcari, New Mexico Airport, and I want to transfer here.
That is something that has, the other day, or actually this morning, speaking to the person that does keep track of this, I'm probably gonna request her to just try to keep that information down for our log so we could see where people are moving, where they're coming from, and a little bit better reason why. But it's nothing hard right there, so I really can't,
Okay.
say that's a definite.
Thank you.
Hangar D, we have, 10 are occupied out of the 10 hangars, and we have 3 on the wait list. For the cover tie downs, we have 2 individuals that have moved out, and as soon as we make the adjustments or take a look at these recommendations and make some adjustments, we're gonna be taking, out of the 6 on the wait list, 2 are immediately gonna move over into those 2 spots.
So four.
So
four
it
on
will
the
be
wait list.
technically 4 after
Okay.
the end of this month, or
right.
before the end of this month. We may have another individual that comes out towards the end of this month, we're waiting to hear, so it could possibly even go down from 4 to about 3 on the wait list.
So how many are on the wait list now?
6 total.
So let me ask one more thing about that. Out of the 15 waiting for T hangars, would you happen to know how many of those are currently in our shade hangars wanting to move up to a shade hangar? I mean, up to a T hangar?
I do not have the list on me, but I could get that to you by next meeting.
Okay, and the only reason I ask is I'm assuming it's 3 or 4. So that being said, there's probably at least 10 waiting for a T hangar that are not currently in our shade hangars that may possibly take a shade hangar if we had one, waiting for a T hangar. So I just bring that up to point out that I think we would fill a new T hangar facility rapidly. So, anyway.
You mean a new shade hangar facility rapidly? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I keep getting, thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah.
If we
Yeah.
built 10 new shade hangars, I think we would fill them up within a month or 2.
I think you're correct.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And that brings up the question, where are we? I know it's in the budget since July for adding more shade. Where are we on that?
Well,
know-
we're approaching it from a new standpoint now, joint operations cooperative. I may be saying that a little bit wrong, but it allows the actual city to select a construction or a firm to come in. To come in and be able to immediately provide us quotes for these large-scale projects. But before we give them the JOC, they first go through a bidding process. So who can provide this type of structure, this type of material, the cheapest? And from there, we set up a contract basically saying you cannot go above this amount. So our whole goal is to get them in place, and that will allow them to fulfill that type of work, and then also any other additional works that's similar to it on the airport. So this is not only going to extend towards the end of this year, but also possibly go into next year and beyond. It's going to be a lot more helpful. It's going to keep everything as cheap as possible and allow us to pursue these projects a lot faster.
And I am very familiar with dovetailing on other governmental agencies who have already done all the legwork and the bidding process, and it creates this situation. So could you please agendize that to give us a full report on the status for next meeting? Thank
All right, wrote it down. Next one, now, the one that you're talking about right there, when it comes to the legwork, that's a SAVE program. That's one that we're currently using for our crack seal.
Right.
Came from Mesa, and we got a little bit better deal than they did, so. So for the budget fiscal year, we're about 38% through the fiscal year of '22. Now this goes through the end of October. That'll be October 31st. Total revenue, we've received $469,153. The total expensive so far from both airport and industrial park has been $225,000. Actually, no, it's going to be correction. It's going to be 200. I apologize. I need glasses. I'm finally realizing it. Okay, so the total expenses is actually $225,866. Now for that revenue broken out, the airport has received $428,536, and the industrial park has brought in $39,093. The actual expenses of the airport so far is $213,893, or 14.9% of the budget. And then the industrial park is $11,973, which is 16.3% of the budget, of the industrial park budget. For the actual fuel, October, avgas that has flowed out has been 5,490 gallons, and then for the Jet A has been 14,457, which total fuel for the month of October has been 19,947 total.
That's quite an increase for avgas from July to October.
Yes, sir. From August and September, you see it's pretty low, and then October it jumps to the roof. Just want to say thank you to our local flying clubs to sponsor a aerobatic practice session and then formation clinic. It's been very helpful, and we'll be very happy to sit back and support them if they want to do that in the future.
Getting back to the budget, now, the land sales are not included, obviously, in the revenue from the industrial park. And I know that we have a savings account as well. Do you happen to know how much is in the savings account? And could we possibly maybe get that included in future agenda items, reports from the activity report that you sent out?
We could.
And I really like having this activity report. That's helpful.
We can look at providing that information, but please keep in mind when it comes to those items, it's budgeted once a year. So if we don't budget it, it must stay in that area. So even though we sell a piece of land, it actually goes into our budgets. We cannot use that because once a year we must bring that out to be a responsible government entity.
Right, but it also has to be used within 5 years.
Yes, sir.
So it'd be nice to know approximately how much we have there. And I'm assuming it's in an account that's generating some sort of interest.
No, not to my knowledge.
Really?
No, not to my knowledge. I don't know if you can do that, so.
Can you check on that and see?
Yes, I could check on that, but I don't think you could gain interest out of it.
Wow.
All right. Are
It
there,
wouldn't be very much, regardless. It wouldn't be hardly anything, but
Well, even if you've got $3 million and it's only generating 2% a year,
that's
worth-
math.
huh?
That's math.
Yeah, that's just math, right?
Are there?
yeah, and I think there's some there's some stipulations or regulations around those accounts, depending on how it is. There's certain limitations they have on what they can do.
Okay,
But-
any other questions from Mr. Breckenridge?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Doug. On the Taxiway Bravo part, so just a little bit of clarification. So with phase 2 grant offer, is that for the design? Is the design done for the whole thing, and the phase 2 grant offer expected in December? Is that for construction of phase 2?
Yes, here is the actual goal with that project. We've received the amount of money for phase 1. We're hoping to get phase 2. We're hoping to get that back in July and August. So as soon as we get phase 2, we go ahead and we merge both projects into one project, and we could go out there and bid that for one company and really reduce the mobility cost. So let's just say if we decide not to do that, we go ahead and we bid out phase 1, and one company wins it, even though they're already on site, some of your mobility costs are down. When phase 2 comes up, they're still going to charge you a little bit extra for bringing the additional MIM materials, because they could be done with one section they're going to have to bring back. So we're really trying to wait for that last December money to hit us or come in so we can obtain it and bid that as one large project.
I know that things take time to bid out, and then all that goes out, and then they have to plan when they're going to actually build things. But if this happens in December, do you anticipate construction of Taxiway Bravo to happen next year?
I see it in the springtime.
Springtime next year, okay.
Yes, sir.
Of the whole thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Anything else from Mr. Breckenridge? All right, sir, thank you very much for your report. All right, I do not see any new business or old business on the agenda. Does anybody have new business or old business that I'm not seeing? Okay, we will move on to announcement by commission members. I'll start off with Commissioner Amspoker.
Yes, there is going to be a Young Eagles rally in Bullhead City. We were invited, the EAA chapter was invited to go to Bullhead, and there will not be a quorum of our commission there, so we don't need to worry about any malfeasance, because there will be 3 pilots flying the Young Eagles and not a quorum. And I can promise you we're going to have plenty to do without talking about any commission information. We were also contacting the Boy Scouts, and the EAA chapter is going to put on a rally for the Explorer Troop of Boy Scouts, and they'll be bringing Boy Scouts from Needles, Bullhead, Havasu, Truxton, pretty much a good portion of Mojave County, and we'll be talking about careers in aviation. And then we'll also be doing a Young Eagles rally, probably in the spring, for the Boy Scouts, specifically to get a merit badge in aviation. And that's all I got.
All right. Commissioner Lorimer.
I don't have anything.
All right. Commissioner Stutzman.
No announcements from me.
All right. Commissioner Gaines.
Yes, sir. We have December 6th, Monday, December 6th, starting at about 9 a.m. We have a special event going on. We're celebrating the 100th birthday of Major Levin Ferrin. That's Levenferrin, who was a B-17 pilot and veteran, obviously World War II veteran, who completed 25 missions, is required 25 missions in the middle of the war over there before he was released and came back. But our group, myself and Tim Gerlach and Jill Berneski are board members of the Aviation Heritage Center of Kingman, and we have procured the B-17 Sentimental Journey from the Phoenix area to come up for that event, where we're going to give Mr. Levin a ride also in the B-17, and have kind of a birthday celebration and a Q&A that'll happen, and cupcakes and some live performing music. And it's going to be quite a historic event. It's a public event, and we're hoping that a lot of the local members of the public can come out and enjoy this thing. And we're hoping for wonderful weather for this thing to happen.
All right, what a great way to showcase our airport. Anything
Yes,
more?
it is. We're having maybe some possible dignitaries coming out too, so we got to make sure we're spiffed up and cleaned up and ready to go.
Okay.
Paul, is there going to be an opportunity for the public to at least view and tour the plane?
I'm sorry. Yes, there is. If it's going to be the regular price, I think, to do ground tours, except that instead of the money going to the CAF, it'll go to our nonprofit. But yes, they'll be able to come out and for a couple hours after his flight, which is in the morning, somewhere around 11 o'clock, somewhere between 11:30 and about 3 p.m. or 2:30, for a couple hours there, they'll be able to come out and tour.
Okay, anything else? Commissioner Gaines, anything more?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, nothing for me. That was it.
All right. Well, I don't have much other than it is the end of the year. We are down one commissioner, and we will be having some commissioners' term coming to an end. So if you have any associates that you believe would benefit the city by being on this commission, let them know. Ask them to put in an application, and let's try to get this commission filled back up. So,
Commissioner Burrows, I got to backtrack, and I do have one other item. I'm sorry.
you bet. Go ahead.
So the following day, December 7th, happens to be Pearl Harbor Day. The Aviation Heritage Center of Kingman, same group that's bringing the B-17 is, we're going to be present and giving a presentation for about 30 minutes on our museum design and proposal to the city council at the, again, the regular first of that month council meeting downtown.
Great. Yeah, it would be great to get as many airport users and or pilots here or aviation buffs to come to the chambers and support you. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we ask for adjournment? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Moved by Commissioner Lorimer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gaines. Any discussion about adjournment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.